Hey, this is Al Angelo from A Plus Racing. Check this out. My daughter made me this. I think I'm going to have stickers made up like this and some more t-shirts. Let me know if you want one. So I'm bringing you another video on how to get your Miata to the front row. But in this video, it's how to get the damn thing started. So this is an NB1. So that means it's a 99 or a 2000. I don't know which one it is. But I did notice that it's a non-California car, so that's a plus. And anyways, so these cars have an issue with this connector right here. All right. So this is the cam angle sensor right here. And the cam angle sensor is right here. And this is the connector to it. There's a problem with these connectors, even though you think you might not have a problem, that when they get warm, they swell up inside and they make a really bad connection. So the symptoms of this are, it almost feels like a bad throttle positioning sensor. And how do I know? Because I've felt it. I've had 2 or 3 cars that have had problems with this connector. So sometimes it acts like a bad throttle positioning sensor, like there's a dead spot in the throttle. Sometimes they don't idle. Sometimes they backfire through the intake. It's an array of problems, and it seems like every car has its own little quirky problem when this connector goes bad. So in 99 and 2000, anytime I have a drivability problem, okay, drivability is the way that it runs, I update this connector. All right. Now on one of my cars, the connectors were so bad that I ended up calling Mazda and buying this entire harness that goes right back to the computer. They do make it. It's like $600 or $700, but it comes with everything was brand new and it plugged right in. It's non-California though. So the big difference in this harness right here between California and non-California is this wire right here. So this is an upstream O2 sensor, and this is the downstream O2 sensor. Well, in a non-California car, this is the only O2 sensor you have. So when I bought that kit, luckily it was for a race car, it didn't come with this one here. So what I did is I used this one as my upstream O2. On the race cars, I don't have to have both O2 sensors on there. I only need an upstream O2. I don't need a downstream O2 because we're not running a catalytic converter. So anyhow, we're getting off the subject of where I want to go to. But I just give you that information. That's for free because you subscribed. All right. So I'm updating this connector right here for fixing any drivability concern or even a no start. All right. Even if I had a car that would crank, but it doesn't start, I would update this connector, all right? And I got to tell you, I would say probably 90% of the time, it fixes whatever's wrong with it, all right? So, yes, I do a lot of these. I just bought this car a couple weeks ago, so we haven't done this one, obviously. It hasn't been updated. This is an original one. And actually, tell you the truth, I don't have a problem with this car right now. I actually drove this car at Thunderhill a week ago. And the car ran great, other than I found out it has 410 gearing. We'll get into that another time. Anyway, but the car ran fine. But I'm going to update it anyhow because I want to bring in this video. And I got a couple of people out there who have made comments to me. One buddy in Oregon that's having a problem. And I think this might fix your problem, Oregon. All right, so let's get ahead and replace this connector. So I've got the tools over here and the things that we're going to need. And so basically, this is the updated connector. All right. And I got this one here from the parts store from O'Reilly's. And there's the part number right now. Hey, this thing is like $60, okay? They're really proud of this. I have seen them online a little cheaper, all right? But O'Reilly's, although they got me good for this connector here, they've treated me well on other parts. All right, so it does come with everything that you need. And what I really like about it, and I went and bought some just in case it didn't have them. What I really like about this connector kit is the Ziploc bag. Notice these. Okay, so these are heat shrink tubing connectors. So once I crimp them, I can heat them up and they'll shrink down. So I really like these. Matter of fact, I bought a couple of packages for this video and I didn't need to. It came with them. All right, whoops, there we go. All right, so we got the connector. simple pair of electrical pliers and some snips. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. All right, so let's take a look. All right, so to unplug this, it's got a little button on this side that I actually push with my finger and then I pull it off. Never push the button and then grab the wires and pull out, because you just pull everything apart in here. Now, one thing about this connector, it's got color-coded wires. And if you notice that our new one, they're all white, all right? So you don't know which one is which. So you got to kind of be thinking a little bit of ahead about, don't just cut the connector wires off right up against the connector, because then you're not going to know which one goes where. So let's move forward. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this back a little bit. Give me a little bit of room, because we have plenty of wire to play with here. So I'm just going to cut this back to expose some of the wiring. All right, like that. Okay. I'm going to cut that off like that. Oh, yeah. Okay. So now my wires are exposed right here. Okay. And so we have the white one with a red tracer. Looks like we got a gray one with a blue tracer. And we've got a black one with a blue tracer. Okay. So I want to kind of keep this lined up like this. Okay. And I'm going to do them one at a time. Now, obviously, our connector, I mean, we've got, we got a lot of wire here. Okay, we could probably run this all the way back to the PCM. All right, so I don't need that much wire. So I'm going to make it a little bit longer. So I'm going to make it up to right here. Okay, don't need that. All right, so the connector is sitting like this. So this one is going to be my first wire. I'm going to go ahead and put it on. All right. So I could just go ahead right now and put our connectors in place. So I'm going to strip back about 1/4 of an inch of wire. Anytime I'm using connectors like this, I usually just strip back about 1/4 of an inch. Okay. Good. Hey, I noticed this morning we're approaching the 600 subscribers, and I'm excited about that. And last I checked, it was like 1,800 hours of viewing time. Okay, so I just did this crimp right here. You notice these pliers are color coded. There's red, blue, and yellow. And so I just crimped it good. And I always give it a little tug to make sure it doesn't come off. All right. Okay, let's get the next one. Okay, am I on the right one? Yeah. All right. And although this is not an electrical video, what I'm trying to do here is make sure that when I crimp, that if you can notice inside of here, there is a little metal tube in there. Okay, so the metal inside runs from right here to right here. So I want to crimp there. This is kind of like the protective sleeve. Okay, so if I crimp this, it's not going to do anything. I want to make sure that my electrical connection is deep into this metal section here when I crimp it. All right. Now, when I was a Ford mechanic, the best job we could do was soldering everything. And we used to solder, well, I used to solder everything together. So I would solder and heat shrink tube everything on the customer's cars. And that was supposed to be like the best way of doing any electrical repair. The problem that I've ran into on Spec Miatas is that there's so much going on in here because of the high revving all the time that eventually the solder breaks. Matter of fact, Ford had a repair for this. Or not Ford, I'm sorry, Mazda. And we would cut this back, cut this end of the connector back. And if Mike can get a good view in there, Mike, I don't know if you can see, there are 3 little pins in there. And we used to solder the wire to one of those little pins. Okay, that's the way Mazda had us fix this problem. And so the problem, though, that arose after that is it would vibrate back and forth, and then the solder would break. And so I got away from soldering those on there because it wasn't a permanent fix. It didn't last forever. Okay. All right, so that's on upside down. So we're going to turn this upside down. Okay, so this goes like that. So that means that if I start all the way from the far left, that this white with the red tracer is my first wire. So I'm going to go ahead, take that off. And you know what? And what I do is I leave a little bit on here so that in the future, if I ever need to replace anything or do anything, I kind of hang on to this. I know what color wire went to where. I'm fortunate that I own 5 or 6 NBs, so I can just go look at another car if I have a stock one that hasn't been updated. But so sometimes I just hang on to that connector. All right, so we're looking at this one. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to load my connector on here first. Get this into position right there. Okay, can you get me on the top up here, Mike? They can see what's going on. All right, come on, baby. There we go. All right, got it in there. Give it a good crimp. Okay, I'm going to check it. That's good. All right. Okay, the next one. You know, and for a while, what I used to do was stagger these. I would do a short one, a medium, and a long one. And I would do that so that I wouldn't have all my connectors all together in one spot. And, but that was kind of like being one of those guys that got your taxes done the first day that it was available. So I'm not quite that organized anymore.
Hey, that's me.
But I used to be. Mike says that's him. Nah, I'm the kind of guy that waits till the last minute. Okay, so the next one is our second wire, our middle wire. So here it is right here, okay? And I'm going to twist this up good. I'm going to load this up. Okay, right there. That looks good. Okay, I'm going to insert. Make sure you get down in there. There it is. And these connectors are actually a little transparent. I can see that wire going in there. Okay. Okay, that's good. All right. Last one. There we go. Hang on to that. Okay. All right. I'm going to load this one up. Like that. Okay, I'm in there. There we go. Okay, that looks good. All right, let me grab the heat gun. Okay, we'll shrink all these down nice and tight. And this should prevent us from having any problems in the future with it having a drivability problem. Then we'll go ahead and wrap this up nice and tight with some electrical tape. Clean it up real good. These heat shrink connectors, well, they're a little bit more money than the a standard connector. Like the way that looks, huh? Yeah, me too. But and they also take a little wire to, a little longer to. a little longer to shrink down since they're a lot thicker than the heat shrink tubing like we used on the kill switch. Okay. All right. So there it is. You can see how nice and clean they are. All right. So I want to make sure it starts. So let me start it up. Oh, yeah. Okay. So the final step is going to be go ahead and tape all this up with electrical tape. And we got it. All right. This one should be good. So in the future, if you got an NB1 and you got any kind of running issues at all, hard to start, backfiring on acceleration, feels like a bad throttle positioning sensor, lack of power, I always change out this connector. And I got to tell you, like I said earlier, most of the time that fixes it. So, but you don't have to buy this expensive connector. You can get the ones online. A buddy of mine in Brooklyn was having a problem, and he got one online for $10 at Amazon. So they are cheaper out there. Okay, so that's going to conclude this video. I'll send you a picture of what it looks like once I got it all nicely taped up. I want to thank you for watching the whole video. I really appreciate my new subscribers. Thanks to my daughter for getting me this sweatshirt. I'm going to have stickers and stuff made up for this. Let me know if you want a sweatshirt or a t-shirt like this. But I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for making this the #1 Spec Miata repair channel on YouTube. So I really appreciate it. It wouldn't happen if it wasn't for you. You guys have a great day. I'll see you at the racetrack.